Hi, I'm Chase Benham. I'm the founder of Avalon Retention Marketing, and today I'm going to discuss how to map your customer journey, specifically for retention, but also for acquisition. So, I created this framework that I call the first date framework. This is where I'm comparing the customer journey to the dating journey, the relationship building journey. So, the first really important thing to understand that I would say is a misconception is that retention doesn't start at the post purchase email. Retention doesn't start when somebody buys a product. It starts the very first time that a customer sees your brand. So, your first impressions as a brand are super important. The same way that they're important when you're dating, right? That first impression is going to matter a ton, maybe even in 6 months of knowing the person, right? So, one other example I like to use is Netflix. Netflix, when they design a show, let's say it has 8 episodes in a season, they don't design each episode to get you to finish the episode. They design the episode to get you to finish the season. So that first episode, right, should be planting the seeds to get you to finish the season, not to get you to finish the episode, not necessarily to get you to the second episode, but to get you to the finale. So we want to do something similar for our D2C or B2C brands when we're dealing with consumers, not necessarily businesses. We want to try to get people to these longer stage to build these long-term relationships, get them using our products more often and buying from us multiple times. So, coming down here to the map, this is what our customer journey, broadly speaking, looks like. So, this is compared to, once again, the dating cycle, dating journey. So, I'll just go through this one step by step. So, like I said, first impressions matter. So, if we're going to use like Tinder or a dating app as an example, the first thing that happens is you match with somebody. This would be equivalent to the first time a consumer sees your product, whether it's like on an ad impression, like a Google ad or a Facebook ad or an Instagram, TikTok ad, whatever. That first impression is important because that will start to move you along. So you match, and now if you want to get things rolling, you got to start talking. So you start talking, getting to know the other person. This is here. You have your ad impression. You decided that you're a little bit interested in the product, so you click onto the website. You visit the website. You're reading the website. You're evaluating if the product and the brand fits your needs. You're evaluating everything, right? So you've chatted. You got to know each other. You like each other a little bit. Now somebody asks the other person out on a date, right? Same thing down here. The customer has now evaluated that they like the product. So they move on to the offer and the checkout experience. So we all know if we ran Shopify stores or any e-com stuff that the checkout experience is a make or break. That people leave it, they fall off, and that we got to recover these people eventually. So now we're gonna assume here that we said yes, and we go on to the date. Yay! So the date is happening, right? It's going great. Same thing here. They decided to purchase, so now we're in the purchase and fulfillment stage. So this stage is really important because this is where we're talking about what emails are we sending our customer? Are we giving them good updates? Do they have good expectations for what's going to happen? All right. So you had the date. Now there's a vibe check. Now you're thinking about how did it go? Did I like the other person? You might be talking to your friends and being like, what, like, is there any red flags? I don't know. Anything like that. You're evaluating the experience. Same thing happens here. The product has arrived. You're using the product. Did it arrive damaged? Did it arrive on time? Whatever. You're evaluating that. And brands can make this a little bit better, right? There are things we could do. Same thing here. You had the date. Maybe you sent them a text the next day. Maybe you sent them flowers the next day. I don't know. This can enhance the vibe check, right? Same thing if asking for feedback, things like that can enhance the post purchase experience. Likewise, also making sure that customers know how to use your product. So, giving them educational content, things like that can enhance the post purchase experience. So, if you're trying to build a long term relationship with somebody, texting them back is super important because you can't just go on a date and then ignore them or ghost them or whatever because you're not going to get a second date. You're not going to get a third date, obviously. So you got to text them back. Same thing happens here. When a customer buys once, you have to follow up with them on email, SMS. You can do retargeting ads, you can do social media, but email and SMS are the most cost effective and the most effective ways to do that. So follow up with your customers, make sure that they're happy, make sure that things are going good, give them post purchase flows, thank you flows. All these things are really helpful to nurture a second purchase. So what pretty much happens after the text back is we pretty much go through these stages again. We go on another date, another vibe check, we continue talking, blah, 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 blah. And then we get to a relationship. Now we have a long term relationship and things are better. Same thing happens here. They buy again and again and again, and they become VIP customers who love your brand. They're advocates. They tell all their friends. Super important. These are the customers that we want. We need to be chasing VIP customers because they spend a lot of money with us. They're easy to work with, right? If they have a problem and they go to customer service, they're probably content with a very simple change. So we want to be chasing these people. Problem is that a lot of brands are chasing ad impressions or website visits. They're chasing these things, which they make easy money. But here's one problem. So let's look at our dating example real quick. Let's say you ask somebody out on a date and they say no. So you have two options. You can give up and say, okay, well, I'll move on, whatever. Wasn't meant to be. Or you can beg them. You can be a crazy person that goes, please, please, please take me on a date. I'll do this for you. I'll do this for you. I'll do this for you. I'll take you to this fancy restaurant. Please just go on a date with me. Person might feel pressured and they'll say, okay, fine. And they go on the date with you. They only went on that date with you because they were pressured. They didn't go on the date with you for the right reasons. So do we think a long-term relationship's going to happen? Probably not. So down here, similarly, when brands use a ton of scarcity tactics, all those different things that people put in ads that nobody really trusts, there are those false trust signals, like the countdown timers. This deal ends tonight every day. Crazy deals that aren't even true. Things like that erodes trust, but they can induce an impulse purchase. Impulse purchases leads to regret, much higher than honest purchases or just regular purchases. So those high impulse purchases will result into the purchase fulfillment, but your post-purchase experience will be negative because they feel like a sucker. They feel like you took advantage of them, even if you really just didn't do much. If they feel that way, they're never going to become a VIP advocate, right? If they went on a date with you just because they felt pressured, there's not going to be a relationship, right? If they bought your product because they felt pressured to, because you used a ton of these tactics, and then they didn't even have a good post purchase experience, or you lied or something, there's not going to be this ongoing VIP and advocacy relationship with your customer. So, another example, the last one I will quickly discuss is this example about buying a car. So, imagine that you are thinking about getting a new car and you want to test drive, you want to check out some cars, so you go to a car dealership. When you go to the car dealership and there's this really fast talking salesman that pushes you into buying this car that you didn't even need, right? He showed you all the stuff, really put you into the headspace, and then you leave the dealership with a $70,000, $90,000 car you don't need, you don't necessarily want, you were just kind of curious. How do you feel? You probably feel like a sucker. You probably regret it. Not enough, maybe not enough to return it. Maybe you will return it. Who knows? You feel bad, right? Even though you have something you like, you feel bad about it. They didn't make you feel good about it. So when you go to buy another car, whether it's for your spouse or for your kid or for whatever, or if you're giving a recommendation, you really think we're going to recommend this salesman that made you feel like a sucker, that made you buy this car that you didn't necessarily want? No. So we don't want our customers to feel that way. Um, we just don't. So we want to build long-term good relationships with them. We want to use honest tactics, so none of this stuff, no fake social proof, no crazy stock countdown timers. Nobody even believes those. There's really no point doing that, right? Crazy bunch of confusing discount. Like we don't want to do these things because it erodes trust, but it could. I mean, it could get an impulse purchase, and it'll give us pretty looking dashboards on like Facebook ads or something, but it doesn't help us grow our business medium to long term. Maybe short term, but not medium to long term. So, if you're interested in doing this yourself, the link is in the description for this whole document. You can read through a lot of the parts I skipped, maybe get you some more context if I didn't explain something well. Hopefully, I did. I made this. You can come here in the scorecard and literally score each of your segments of your customer journey. This is how you can literally see where conversions are dropping off, where customers are struggling, where your brand is struggling and where you can fix these things. So tells you what it measures and then give it a score out of 10. Go ahead here and then you can just read your score and just kind of helps you use this framework yourself. So I hope you found this helpful. Hope you got some value out of this and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.